It seems Malt has been struck with a mild case of severe amnesia, so much so that it even affected her muscle memory. It's as if somebody used a bat command to set everything to level 1. Oh my. Any sensible person would promptly visit a doctor or an apothecary, maybe even a priest. But Malt forgot how to be sensible. Instead, she traveled to the strange mouth door in the middle of the Nibbin Bay. What adventures might this lead to? Last time we did this, we went after the Knights of the Nine content, and that kept us in Cyrodiil, giving us access to things like enchanting and spellmaking. This run won't have those luxuries. Once we get to the Shivering Isles, we ain't leaving. If Uncle Sheo's realm don't got it, we ain't getting it. I did do a bit more planning this time around, however, and my class choice isn't totally arbitrary. Some of these major skills I won't be relying on much, but I made sure to pick Destruction and Restoration specifically so I'd start with a few spells. Why didn't the amnesia make Malt forget them? Because amnesia is physical and magicka is metaphysical. Yeah. But how will we actually cast the spells? We only have 1 intelligence. Ah, well you see, unlike Morrowind, High Elves in Oblivion get a flat amount of bonus magicka. It's not scaled with your intelligence. It's just a free 100 extra magicka. Also, Malt was born under the sign of the Apprentice, providing yet another 100 points of magicka, at the cost of a 50% magicka weakness. We're going to be starting with only 2 points of health anyway, so all these compounding weaknesses, such as the innate 25% elemental weakness High Elves have, don't really matter. Magic is going to kill us in 1 hit regardless.
Madness! Why? Why? Everything is wrong! It can't be done! Stay away from me! I'll kill you all! You're all going to die!
Whatever's through that portal must be something amazing. People are going crazy when they're forced to leave. And by the way, this is what I expect when somebody tells me about a portal. This is a portal. Oh god damn it, they overcorrected. You're killing me, Bethesda.
Bring me a champion! Rend the flesh of my foes! A mortal champion to wade through the entrails of my enemies. Really? Do come in!
Here we have Haskell, Sheogorath's right-hand man. And it may not be obvious, but Haskell's voice actor has made several appearances on this channel before.
I imagine you're here about the door?
It's Jeff Baker, Dagoth himself. After the whole Sharmat thing didn't work out, Vorn Dagoth fell back on his paralegal certification and started doing clerical work for old Sheo. The Daedric Prince of Madness is looking for a champion, so he opened up a portal through which mortals may freely come and go from his realm, the Shivering Isles. This is how he circumvents the Dragonfires. The Shivering Isles DLC takes place, canonically, after Martin sealed shut the jaws of Oblivion. But that doesn't mean the princes can't fiddle around in Mundus at least a little bit. They can't pull another Dagon and fully manifest in Nirn, but holding open a door and letting mortals in, that's quite alright. Damn it, now I'm calling the portals doors.
Enter or do not, but make your decision. I've other duties to which I must attend. Have you made up your mind? The tension is almost palpable.
In for a penny.
Fine. I'm sure my lord will be most pleased, assuming you ever manage to see him. You'll want to pass through the gates of madness. Oh, and mind the gatekeeper. He dislikes strangers to the realm. Enjoy your stay.
They don't taste anything like butter. Giant mushrooms. Morrowind? Our first obstacle of this adventure will be that Gatekeeper Haskell had mentioned. Or, well, I guess this Grummite is the first obstacle, technically, but the first big obstacle, both narratively and physically, will be the Gatekeeper. The shock spell is stronger, but the flare spell lets me keep a fair distance. 3 casts kills them, good enough for now.
Hey, narratively spurious cyborg. You look a little on edge. You got something you want to tell me? Yes, do you remember when you were tinkering inside my hat? Well, I believe you knocked something loose. What you probably did was some sort of temporal manipulation in the Einstein-Rosenkranz. All that is to say is that I can now acquire sponsorship material through the hat more easily. As you can see, we have right here... Today's sponsor, once more, Manscaped. So where did you get all the other products from the last sponsorships? Listen here, you little The irony isn't lost on me. Somebody with alopecia universalis advertising for a company that's known for their hair care products. But Manscaped's been pretty easy to work with, and they haven't been pressuring me to talk about their razors. It'd be like asking a vegan what steakhouse to go to. Now they also ask that I show the product in use, so pretend that's me. So you get your soaps, you're nice and clean, you put on your cologne, you're feeling great, then you throw on underwear that chafes, that's itchy, that just doesn't feel right. Well, that's where the Boxers 2.0 come in. They're made out of a soft, breathable material. The waistband doesn't chafe or cut into you, and it doesn't roll. And they've also got a little bit of extra fabric in the front to give you room. You can get them in singles, or you can get a 3-pack in any of 6 color combinations. By using my promo code JBN at checkout, or using the link in the description or in the pinned comment, you can get 20% off your next order. Thanks again to Manscaped for sponsoring this video.
Outside the gate the Gatekeeper keeps is a little town called Passwall. And in that little town called Passwall is a mayor called Sheldon.
Hello, I'm Sheldon. I've been here the longest. That's why I'm mayor of Passwall. That, and because I'm the best at being in charge.
And inside that mayor called Sheldon is a level of arrogance unbefitting of someone wearing those goofy clothes. He tells us the keys to the gate are sewn up inside the Gatekeeper, and the only way to get our hands on them is by quite literally prying them from the Gatekeeper's cold, dead body. The Gatekeeper's a big fella. Reminds me of Cronus from God of War. As you can see, it's able to quite easily take out several well-equipped and well-statted NPCs. I'm at least twice as smart as them, but no amount of strategy and maneuvering will help us beat this guy. Not without a bit of work first. We have 2 options. The first, speak with J-Red Iceveins, a well-adjusted Nord with a healthy interest in osteology.
They say the Gatekeeper's magical. I don't believe in magic, but I do believe in bones. And the best way to kill something is with the bones of its own.
I can't argue with that logic. There are bones of a dead Gatekeeper in the garden courtyard, but he's all thumbs with a lockpick, so he wants us to help him get in. Our second option, if bones ain't to our liking, is figuring out what the Gatekeeper's true weakness is. It's kryptonite, if you will. Romina Veronim is the creator of the Gatekeeper, but she's no help. Not that we should have expected much from her, she treats the Gatekeeper like a child. Her apprentice, Nanette Dawn, is a touch more naive, however. With a high enough disposition, she'll reveal that the Daedra wrapped up within the Gatekeeper's body is hurt by Relmina's tears. Every night, Relmina goes up to the Gatekeeper to visit him, and this makes her all weepy, straining the bonds holding the Gatekeeper together. Perhaps if we could collect those tears, we could use them as a poison. Why not both? We tell J-Red we're ready to assault the gardens, he leads us to the gate, and we unlock it with the open spell we get by default when choosing Alteration as a major skill. It's a very easy lock, so we could have very easily picked it with a lockpick. Anyone could have picked it with a lockpick. J-Red's just thick. With a CK, I mean. We've got some skellies, but we're still level 1, so they're still level 1. Already I'm glad I decided to go the mage route with this run. I can't imagine this being possible without magic. Unless I wanted to do a bunch of grinding first, get more endurance levels so I'd have more than 2 health, then maybe I could survive a hit or 2 from the skeletons, and then I would realize my leveling made them stronger too, so I need to level more, so I wouldn't die as good. The high elf magical boost, being decoupled from intelligence, is a lifesaver. With the gardens cleared out, J-Red can collect the dead Gatekeeper's bones, and craft enough bone arrows for the 2 of us to use. They'll be ready tomorrow. Because we have to wait a day anyway, we might as well collect Relmina's tears in the meantime, and level up. Skipping out on putting 3 points into speed hurts a bit, but right now, just a single point of endurance and strength will double our health and double our carry capacity. The willpower is for faster magical regeneration. As you can see, Relmina is here crying with the Gatekeeper, but for some reason, there's no quest trigger regarding her tears. Where's the tears? What's going on? Maybe getting J-Red to make the bone arrows closes off this pathway? Or maybe we didn't trigger the right dialogue options with Nanette. Oh well, J-Red should be enough. Without the tears or the bone arrows, the Gatekeeper has a powerful regenerate effect, even when scaled against a level 2 player. Its buff heals it for 8 points per second every second. It's just a constant buff it has. But with J-Red using the bone arrows, and with us throwing itty bitty fireballs, the Gatekeeper goes down without much issue. Mania or dementia. It doesn't matter what door we decide to go through. It actually does, but I didn't realize that at the time. The roads leading from both gates are dotted with enemies, but that's fine because I have a plan. Attacking this dark seducer gets me a minor bounty, and by paying it off...
You can't afford to pay reparations.
Oh. We don't have enough gold. We have to go to jail. Okay, so we go to jail. Where's the bed? This is even further away. Maybe if I escape, I'll be teleported to New Sheogorath anyway? You must sleep in a jail bed, so I can't even rest to restore my magicka? Wait, was there a bed? Am I stupid? Oh, I am stupid. The bed's right here, exactly where I came in. I must be going crazy or something. We serve our sentence, lose 1 destruction level, and get dropped inside New Sheogorath, over-encumbered by the tattered rags they call a prison uniform. We'll just drop those. Nudity makes you stronger on these isles. That whole adventure got us to level 3. 2 to strength, 4 to willpower, and 3 to speed. Great. With all that settled, it's time to meet the head honcho himself.
Always a pleasure.
A new arrival! A shame about my Gatekeeper. I'm so happy I could just tear out your intestines and strangle you with them. I suppose an introduction is in order. I'm Sheogorath, Prince of Madness, and other things. I'm not talking about them.
He's proud of us. We're the first mortal to make it this far, so he gives us a little trinket, the Charity of Madness. Like all quest rewards, it's scaled to our level. Since we're level 3, it grants 7% resistance to fire, frost, and shock. That counteracts our significant elemental weaknesses. Kind of. Not really. I don't have anything better. There's a change a-coming, and Sheogorath needs the help of a mortal champion. You see, Daedric princes are the embodiments of change, contrasted with the Aedra, who are static. But this could be in-universe ideologies at play, aiming to demonize Daedra and glorify the Aedra. It might not be totally true. Ultimately, it doesn't matter, because Sheogorath says princes are the embodiment of change, and what matters right now is what Sheogorath is saying. He could be lying, or maybe his situation is unique due to, well, we'll find out. Anyway, the Grey March is coming. What is the Grey March?
The details aren't important, at least not right now. Eternity is on a rather tight deadline. We'll get back to that later.
We don't quite know yet. All we know is he wants us to go to Zedilian, a place where he deals with any unwanted visitors who happen to make it past the Gatekeeper. But the Gatekeeper's dead, and Zedilian isn't up and running, so it's our job to play mechanic. We gotta go there, find some crystals, drop them into their respective receptacles, use the gizmo of Attenuating Judgment, sprongle the Squiggly Whack, and gimbal in the Wabe. At times, the best thing about Oblivion is the goofy ragdoll physics. This is not one of those times. Ugh. A gang squad of mages with healing spells. How trivial. Maybe I can just run away from them. Grummites, a much more manageable enemy, but the mages are still following me. Fingers crossed they don't chase me into Zedilian. I think I'm safe. For now. Whoa. Archers are dangerous. Got it. There are 3 crystals we have to find, and 3 judgment nexuses. Nexi? We have to place them in. It's been a minute since I played through this DLC, so I don't quite remember the minor details. In fact, I don't remember this crystal shit at all. I thought the crystal shit started happening a bit later. I got a suspicion that this Grummite is guarding the crystal. Lightning is hard to dodge. Is it dead? Did I get it? Excellent. Oh, it has a staff. 10 points of shock damage on target with 90 uses? That's amazing. Wait, where'd the staff go? What the hell? Oh, the staff was the focus crystal. Got me excited over nothing. Well, 2 more shamans to find. The shaman came with friends, and I'm now out of magicka. Either we run around these corridors and throw fireballs every few seconds as our magicka regenerates, or we throw fists. They barely have any fatigue and fall over from a single punch. Was this not a shaman? This is a magus whelp. I do appreciate the architecture of this place. It's very good at blocking wizardry. Nexus number 2, sorted. I've discovered a new strategy for conserving magicka. We can kill the Grummite grunts with 3 fireballs, but the third one is overkill. A single punch is strong enough. It is riskier, of course, but I make YouTube videos about video games for a living. I need that shot of adrenaline to chase off the hope. One more hit should do it. We'll sneak up on him. Yeah, got him. That's all 3. We clear through more Grummites, mostly weak melee and archer whelps with the occasional magus that gives me a bit of grief, but otherwise, it's unremarkable. Eventually we arrive at the Resonator of Judgment, an oddly ordered structure for someone as mad as Sheogorath. This crystalline form, so exact in its creation. It makes you wonder what it's even doing here on the Shivering Isles. It's as if this realm weren't always a madhouse. Once we attune the resonator, and the purple lightning starts to zapping, we run into this friendly guy, Kilaban Nirandil, or as his friends call him, the Crow. He asks that we assist him in Zendilian's maiden operation after being so long deactivated. Our job is simple: watch the adventurers enter the room, then choose one of two scenarios to place them in. Giant Gnarl, or Gnarl Swarm.
What in Oblivion is that thing? Damn it! Lewin deserved better than this, and I'm responsible.
The Swarm kills the group's rogue. Drop many keys for the treasure cage, or trigger a fire trap.
Look, keys. One of them must open the gate. We're rich.
With hundreds of keys in the chamber, the group's mage goes mad, trying to suss out which key is the correct one. They're all fake. Ghost illusion, or raise the dead. We all know how tanky zombies are.
Blood for blood!
And now, the final member of the group, the warrior, knows too. With Zendilian up and running, Kilaban says we're free to collect the spoils of the dead adventurers, including the warrior's odd sword. But as we make our way to the reward chest, we notice a new crystal has sprouted from the facility floor. Odd. Cybermen! Oh, no, wait. They're Knights of Order. Close enough. Thankfully, they aren't as tanky as they look. The sword the warrior was carrying is called Dusk Fang, or Dawn Fang, depending on the time of day. It switches every 12 hours. At our current level, it does 3 points of frost damage, or fire damage, on strike. It has 50 charges, and you might think that's nice and all, but recharging enchanted weapons is such a pain. We would probably only want to use this every now and then in emergencies. But you see, when this weapon switches to its other form, it returns as if brand new. All charges replenished. Good to have as a backup. The mage had a staff. Sindelius's Boltcaster. Shock damage, 15 points in 10 feet on target, 30 uses. I'd love to have it, but with only 20 bramble plinths worth of carry capacity, we can't carry both the staff and the sword. Instead, we carry it to the front of the dungeon, the cheesy way, as Sheogorath intended. Good thing too, that squad of mages that chased us here have been waiting for me this whole time. Would have preferred to save this staff for something else, but that something else probably would have never arisen. Gotta use the strong stuff when you get it, don't hoard it. Reporting back to Sheogorath, he seems largely unbothered by the knights we ran into at Zendilian, like he knew it would happen. Some warning would have been nice, but he wouldn't be the Prince of Madness if he knew what to expect while also random.
Cheese for everyone!
To aid in our future tasks, he grants us the power to summon Haskell, so we may ask for advice with our current quest whenever we need it.
Our Lord has granted you the power to summon me. How wonderful for me.
It's a thankless job, really. We'll need all the help we can get to defeat Jyggalag and stop the Grey March, Sheogorath says. Jyggalag, the Daedric Prince of Order, is no slouch, and if his knights are any indication, he's not terribly interested in instilling variety among his underlings. He's all business. He's a boring prince, a predictable prince, but a powerful prince, all the same. What would you ask of us now, Lord Sheogorath?
Ask? Ask? I don't ask! I tell! This is my realm, remember? My creation, my place, my rules!
Okay, geez. With the hope that we may actually be the mortal who stops the Grey March, Sheogorath orders that we meet with the Duke of Mania and the Duchess of Dementia to get a taste for both flavors of madness and to join their respective courts. Obviously, this means doing a quest for each of them. Théoden, Duke of Mania, wants the Chalice of Reversal. He's not very sober-minded, as should be expected, but he says the world becomes a much brighter and happier place if you use the Chalice after eating Feldew. According to Wide-Eye, the Chalice is in Dunroot Burrow, a cavern infested with Feldew-infused elytra, and if we want to enter, we'll need to consume some Feldew first. But Feldew without the Chalice is a terrible thing. Wide-Eye suspects the Duke is sending us on this mission so we gain an appreciation for the Feldew, an appreciation for the pain it causes. I suspect this is a drug allegory. Syl, Duchess of Dementia, is hyper-paranoid and believes there's someone out to get her. Why would she ever think that? Because we were sent by Sheo directly, she believes we could be trusted. For now, at least. She names us her Grand Inquisitor and demands we investigate her court to uncover any traitors in her midst. Heridir will act as my torturer. Interrogator. We'll come back to this. This side of Dunroot Burrow requires a key to enter, but there's a secret back entrance. We kill one of the elytra with a green aura, collect the Feldew from its body, approach this eardrum structure, eat the Feldew, and then enter the burrow. But we must be quick. The benefits we gain from Feldew are temporary, and if we don't want to suffer Feldew withdrawals, we'll need to collect as much as we can on our way to the Chalice. The worst part about Feldew withdrawals, besides having cold bones and hot skin and your brain feeling like it's made out of loose fiberglass, is that it drains your strength. Without Feldew, we become over-encumbered. With it, we're just normally encumbered, or under-encumbered, You could be over-encumbered, you could be under-encumbered. Can you just be encumbered? I'm sure this wouldn't be a problem if we had a reasonable amount of strength, but we don't, so it is. After about 15 minutes of rooting around in this burrow, pun intended, we emerge in the Sanctum of Decadence, a fancy stone lounge filled with shirtless... These Feldu addicts won't be as simple to deal with as the Elytra, but with a bit of maneuvering, and no cheesy positioning whatsoever, we kill the final addict, Jufy the Brown, and claim our prize, the Chalice of Reversal. It cures our Feldu addiction, giving us the strength we need to drop the stack of the stuff we collected on the trip down here. Well, maybe I'll keep a bit on hand, just in case. Level 4. More attributes is great, but the increased enemy scaling makes me nervous. Que sera, sera. With the Chalice, we return to the Duke of Mania, who's a bit more clear-headed this time around.
The triumphant champion returns. So, do you feel any different now that you've been through this experience, I mean? You know what it's like now, always wanting that next fix, hating it but craving it at the same time, and hating yourself for all of it.
Quite the meaningful statement. Not something you'd expect from a game as goofy as Oblivion. As a token of his gratitude, he grants us the role of Courtier of Mania, probably more of a ceremonial position. Returning to Syl's request, to rout out the traitors in the Court of Dementia, we have to bring the court torturer and interrogator with us while we question the Duchess's closest allies.
I do appreciate an assertive leader. I look forward to working with you on this assignment. Lead the way, Grand Inquisitor.
If they're unwilling to give us the information we want, well...
Please, no!
After a bit of delicate coercion, Anya Herrick reveals Mazada had threatened her. If she refused to help him, there would be repercussions. Mazada is also a bit receptive to a bit of negotiation, but not as receptive as Anya.
You may continue to do your worst, Inquisitor, but unless you have some evidence of this preposterous conspiracy, you'll get nothing from me.
This fool. He's already revealed too much. His confidence that we won't find any evidence implies that there's evidence to find. A bit of schmoozing with sickly Bernice makes her quite amiable to our questioning. She's heard tell that Mazada has been seen talking with Nelreen, Syl's captain of the guard. If we keep to the shadows and follow Mazada late tonight, we may be able to overhear a conversation between him and the one giving him his orders. Sure enough, he is here meeting with one of Syl's dark seducers. We confront Mazada and get him to spill who else is involved in this conspiracy, but we'll have to be discreet. If Nelreen learns he's betrayed her, if she so much as suspects a double cross, it might jeopardize the entire investigation. We wait until midnight the next night, and we meet at Mazada's house. But when we arrive, we find him unconscious in a pile of raspberry jam. Silly Khajiit. Well, he's got a key on his person, which unlocks the upstairs cupboard, inside of which is the information he promised, and Nelreen's ceremonial short sword. The sword was for Anya to do the deed. Mazada writes in his note that it should serve as good evidence against the conspiracy. Yeah, sure, that makes sense. His note also reveals that Murine is the one in charge of this entire scheme. But that's not possible. Not Murine. Not sweet, sweet Murine. How could Murine do something so heinous? I'm guessing Murine is another seducer. Oh, Murine is just some high elf.
I just finished a lovely conversation with Uncle Leo. It seems he's not feeling well today. Lost an arm.
I hope he finds it.
I see you've done quite a bit of work to track me down.
Questmarker's lady gives me a real advantage. She says Syl has been consorting with the enemies, making her unfit to lead Dementia. Who would be the enemies of Dementia? Would that be Mania? Why would Syl be consorting with members of the Court of Mania? Moreover, why the hell does it matter? You're all servants of Sheogorath. What kind of structure of governance would be this crazy? Oh, I get it now. Now that the conspiracy is foiled, Syl summons Murine to the torture room, where she unexpectedly shows the woman mercy. For assisting Duchess Syl, she makes us Courtier of Dementia, and gives us a unique bow, Ruin's Edge. Bethesda probably didn't realize that this could potentially be a double entendre in 20 years. It applies a random effect on strike. Random from a list of 6 different effects, that is. Long paralysis, short paralysis, silence, fear, frenzy, and burden. One of the 6. Might not be all that reliable, but it brings us one step closer to stealth archery. We go back to Sheogorath, having now experienced both shades of madness, and he informs us that we'll not only be stopping the Grey March, but we'll also be growing to be him. We're going to become the new Sheogorath. We ask him how we could become a Daedric prince since we're immortal, and he says we won't really be him, but we'll have his power. The more esoteric bits of Elder Scrolls lore infer that there is very little difference between behaving like an individual and being that individual. Walk like them until they must walk like you. Mantling is a strange thing. He needs us to be him when Jyggalag arrives, because his here-ness is antithetical to Jyggalag's here-ness. Sheogorath being here breaks the rules, but if we take on his himness, then his here-ness doesn't break the rules. So when Jyggalag is here, and Sheogorath is there, we'll become Sheogorath here, so while Sheogorath is suffused with there-ness, we'll be suffused with Sheogorathness to go with our already sufficient amount of here-ness. We won't lose our here-ness in the presence of Jyggalag's here-ness, is what I'm trying to say. Instead of counteracting Jyggalag-induced there-ness in Sheogorath, the easier thing to do is to transfer Sheogorath's Sheogorathness to someone with unmalleable here-ness. That someone is us. The first step to mantling Sheogorath is relighting the Great Torch over New Sheoth. In order to light the torch, we have to fetch the Flame of Agnon from Cylarn. Unfortunately, Sheogorath's minions at Cylarn, Golden Saints and Dark Seducers, Auriels and Mazkin, as they call themselves, are always feuding with each other in an effort to please their lord, so it's unlikely to be Grummites we'll be contending with this time around. To prepare for potentially stronger enemies, we pop into Auriel's magic shop and buy some new spells. Or a new spell. I haven't made much effort to get gold beyond what I looted from enemies, so we can't afford much. Snowflare looks good. 7 points of fire damage and 5 points of frost damage, both on target. It costs 26 magicka to cast, but it does twice as much damage as your basic flare spell. Flare costs 13 magicka at my current destruction level, so both spells are effectively equally efficient. But Snowflare does more DPS. Less time in combat means less risk of the enemy one-shotting me. The drawback is, if I miss, I waste way more magicka than if I missed with Flare. Cylarn has been split in two. King Solomon's been here. No, he only threatened to cut a baby in half. Ah, it must have been Robin Hood. He split Cylarn in twain. To get the Flame of Agnon from Cylarn, the 2 altars within the ruin must be lit, but the Auriels control one of the altars, and the Mazkin control the other. The only way to get both lit is to side with one of the factions and drive the other faction out. To my knowledge, it doesn't matter who we side with, so let's go with the Golden Saints. I can appreciate a woman with a good set of lats. Since we've got a squad of Golden Saints on our side, fighting into the Dark Seducer's territory isn't all that difficult. We just hang back, fire a few arrows here and there, cast some spells. The Saints do most of the work. Don't worry too much about all the Mazkin being slaughtered. Daedra don't die. They merely return to incorporeal spirit essence and reform sometime later. That should make our Mazel Kane's next action make a bit more sense. The altars can only be lit by the willing sacrifice of an Auriel or a Mazkin. Kane takes on this honor, releasing her soul to Oblivion, where she'll float around aimlessly until her body reforms. Death doesn't mean much when you're immortal. I do wonder what it's like though. Do you think they perceive the passage of time while they're soul idols? Does it depend on how they died? Where they died? Do Daedra dream of Patamaic sheep? With the 2 altars lit, the flames of Agnon appear in the brazier out in the courtyard. We collect the flame by friggin' stepping into it like a putz, return to New Sheoth in a blaze of glory, and place the flame in a brazier of our choosing. Mania or Dementia. The reward you get is different, so we'll be giving the fire to Mania. Dervenin, a name you may recognize from Skyrim, gives us the raiment of Arden Sul Senapul.
Receive now the raiment of Arden Sul.
Oh, wait, just the raiment of Arden Sul. It fortifies our intelligence and willpower by 5 points each, grants 7% shield, and gives 10% paralysis resistance. If we had lit the Dementia Brazier, we would have gotten a thief-based item instead. But none of that matters, because look how cute I am in this pretty dress. A round of applause from Lord Sheogorath. He's now even more confident that we'll stop the Grey March, but there is no way we can take his place without gaining the respect of his citizens. To do this, we'll have to take over one of the courts by replacing Duke Théoden or Duchess Syl. Whichever court we choose to pursue is a choice we can't take back, so we'll need to think long and hard about it. The ritual of Ascension for Mania involves Duke Théoden killing himself by consuming 3 doses of green moat. Once he's dead, we offer his blood to the altar of Arden Sul and inherit his title. The ritual of Ascension for Dementia is a bit simpler. Cut out the heart of the court's current leader and offer it to the altar. As a murder hobo, the clinching factor is the reward. If we take the Mania path, we get the Ring of Lordship, which fortifies personality, grants a shield buff, and gives some disease resistance. I assume there's a lot of late-night parties over in Mania, so the disease resistance makes sense. However, if we take the Dementia path, we get the Ring of Lordship. It has the same name, but the effect is much better. It fortifies endurance, grants Chameleon, and gives us some resistance to poison. Chameleon is nice if we have to avoid enemies, but that endurance, every point of endurance, is worth 2 points of health. Fortified endurance doesn't affect how much health you get on level up, but it affects how much health you currently have. The 5 points of endurance this ring will give us is worth an extra 10 points of health. Trivial for a normal playthrough, but it's more than double my current health right now. Dementia it is. Both Kithlin and Anya are still a bit sour about the whole torture thing from earlier. It was like a week ago, guys, get over it. If we want their help in overthrowing Syl, we'll need to do a bit of speech crafting. I don't know if there's a foolproof strategy for this minigame, or if there's a way to be optimal. I just try to use the biggest section on the option they like the best, and the smallest on the one they hate, and then just click whatever for the rest. Bribing works too.
We understand each other perfectly.
Kithlin gives us a key to the dementia wing of the palace, which is full of mushrooms we may be able to use for a bit of alchemy XP. I've been munching on raw ingredients here and there to get some levels. Leveling up alchemy just once over the course of one character level gives us 2 potential... Still has guards. I killed the 2 seducers in the courtyard, but if we spoke to Anya first, raised her disposition a bit, she would have gone and distracted them for us. Well, I'm sure those won't be the last seducers we'll be dealing with, so it was good practice. Huh, Syl's private chambers are right off the garden. This was easy. She's right there, sleeping. Is she already dead? Oh, Kithlin, what the hell?
The body on the bed isn't Syl, but merely an impersonator. The real Syl uses many such decoys to throw would-be killers off her trail.
What strange behavior. Why use so many decoys when there's a whole alphabet of coys to choose from? Syl made her escape using a secret evacuation tunnel hidden in the garden. She thinks she's clever, hiding the entrance behind this bust of Sheogorath. But I've seen Batman. I know this trick. We dodge through the maze of magic and end up in a big chamber with 3 Mazkin. 2 on the catwalk, 1 patrolling the main corridor. Pushing this button disables all the magic in the previous hallways, allowing us to kite the first Mazkin safely. It was a close one, but we got her. The other 2 might be tougher. They're archers, so they hit like trucks. But after dodging a few of their arrows, we can collect them off the ground and return fire with Ruin's Edge. If we roll the dice just right, one of the Mazkin will be hit with Frenzy, forcing it to attack the other Mazkin, either killing it, getting itself killed, or simply weakening the 2. One appears to have died. Excellent. And that's Mazkin Archer 2. This room is suspiciously tranquil. There it is. Pro strat. When they spawn, just unload snow flares into them. The second one we have to kite. But I do have this Blessing of Dementia. We've had it since we went through the Gates of Madness. Picking the Dementia side gives you the Dementia version. Picking the Mania side gives you the Mania version. The Blessing of Dementia demoralizes enemies up to level 12 within 30 feet of the target for 10 seconds. It gives me just a tiny bit of time to get some distance and regenerate some magicka. The Blessing of Mania causes Frenzy for 30 seconds. I think that might have been more useful now that I think about it, but I didn't know about it at the time, so... Oops. Another one? Run through the door. The Mazkin should chase us through. Yep, there she is, and she's alone. Where the hell did that second one come from? Let's abuse the Mazkin's load animation. It loads in through the door, and we can hit it with Dawnfang a few times, and then... Easy. Shit. The second one came back. Same strategy, but in reverse.
Blessing. How many? How many?
First try. 2 more Mazkin. Archers. I think I actually prefer the archers. It's a lot easier to dodge arrows than it is to run away from a sword-swinging maniac. Although they're Mazkin, so they're not actually maniacs, they're demented. More Mazkin, jeez. Syl really doesn't want to die. Finally, end of the gauntlet. Syl's got 2 Mazkin guarding her, but if we can burn her down really fast and loot her heart, we might be able to... We kill Syl, cast Blessing of Dementia, loot the heart, and book it. We've escaped Syl's dungeon of goth women, sadly, and we have her heart in hand. Dropping it into the altar of Arden Sul causes it to spontaneously combust with a blue-green flame, perhaps insinuating that Syl's body contained copper sulfate. Or magic. Poor Syl. You should have stayed as a spren.
The heart of Syl has been consumed by Arden Sul's will, and the Demented welcome you with open arms.
For someone who welcomes us with open arms, you're sure giving me quite the stank face. No matter. Sheo, what's next on our docket?
You've done it! The ritual is complete, and you've survived! Oh, who'd have thought? Now, on to other...
Wait, I must speak. Halt! Cease! Desist!
Oh, here comes Théoden, Duke of Mania. Forgot about him.
Théoden! How dare you interrupt me? Only I interrupt me! Like just then. I'm speaking with someone. We'll talk later. Or not. When is later exactly? Not now, I'm sure of that. Guards! I think Théoden forgot how to use the door. Kindly show him out, before I forget. get myself.
What? What we doing, fellas? Oh.
Syl? Syl is dead? This can't be right. Is this right? What have you done? Have you done this?
Hold your tongue, little Duke, or I'll tear it from your mouth.
But this stranger? Someone new? From somewhere else? Not here. I'm sure of that. I don't understand. Or I can't.
Calm yourself, Théoden. You're making my teeth itch.
Oh, well, you don't want itchy
You
teeth.
still hold your office. I suggest you see to your duties.
Ridiculous! You can't do this, although you're omnipotent, or just tall. It's one of the two, I'm sure.
You are a Bosmer.
And a fool.
Fool? Visionary! Change is in the air, Théoden. Breathe it deep. Bathe in its scent. Bottle it up. Save some for later.
Order approaches. It's taken the fringe already, with order clothes and order hats. And you speak of change?
Change will preserve us. It is the lifeblood of the Isles. It will move mountains. It will mount movements.
No, certainly not. This isn't good. I'm sure it's bad. I can't do this anymore. No more.
Then go, Théoden. Have your green moat. Take a bath. But leave before I decorate my throne with your insides.
Yes, that's it. I'll go. Away, far away. Working for them is like working for us, but without all the dying.
No! Let him go.
Enough! I go to Jyggalag. I give myself to him as a priest of order. This isn't done, mad god. I think it's just started.
He had a silly hat. Something like this has never happened before, and you may think this puts a kink in Sheogorath's plans. But unprecedented events, when under the threat from a god of strictly precedented events, is actually a good sign. It means what we're doing is working. It's mixing up the Grey March, and if the Grey March is mixed up, then Jyggalag is mixed up, and Jyggalag hates being mixed up. As a symbol of our new office, Sheogorath gives us the Ring of Lordship, as we discussed earlier. But this also grants a new greater power. As the Duchess of Dementia, once per day, we can summon a Dark Seducer to help us in combat for 60 seconds. Although he's gone turncoat, Théoden did come with a warning. Forces of order have begun attacking the Fringe, that little area of the Isles before the Gates of Madness. Sheo's armies are already stationed out there, so he'd like us to go help them. Arriving at Passwall, we see it's already overrun by Knights of Order, and the Mazkin seem to have gotten desperate. They've dispatched a contingent of male Mazkin, the weaker Mazkin. It's why you don't see them all that often. Same goes for Auriels. That's just the way they do. Once the current assault is dealt with, we speak with the leader of this platoon, Rakendo Yudiko, who tells us there's no time to talk. Another wave is incoming. It's just more of the same. Having a squad of Mazkin backing me up makes this a much easier task. With the last knight slain, we once again speak with... Hey, Yudiko! What the hell? Was this a trap? What's happening? Oh, now we gotta fight the waves again. Why does this dummy keep attacking me? At least she's essential. NPCs usually drop aggro once you put them in their place.
Victory is
Whoa.
ours for the moment.
Oh, Oblivion. The forces of order are pouring out of a ruin called Zedafin, but if Yudiko takes her forces on a mission to the ruins, they risk allowing Passwall to be totally overrun. It falls upon us. Huh. I don't know if this is a demonstration of how good Oblivion's physics are, or how bad they are. It's processing, like you'd expect from a spinning object, but I feel like friction and wind resistance should be playing a greater role here. Assume a spherical cow. Zedafin is full of Knights of Order, as you'd expect, but they're not so difficult to take down. A few snow flares does the job. Fighting two at once is still a problem. The Knights sometimes drop Hearts of Order. Consuming one grants us Jyggalag's favor, fortifying our health by 50 points, and our strength by 25 points for 15 seconds each. It also heals us for 60 points over the course of 1 second. Great for emergencies. Unlike Morrowind, if you have less health than the Fortify health effect grants when it wears off, you don't instantly die. Instead, you're left with 1 hit point, so fortifying your health in Oblivion is much less dangerous. A Priest of Order. You know, they really tried to go strange for the Shivering Isles, but they just couldn't resist throwing in a bit of Lord of the Rings looking stuff. This knight has a lot of health. What am I doing? We could summon a Dark Seducer. She can take the aggro while we unload magic. Damn it. Instead, we'll use our invisible Dusk Fang, because of the chameleon effect, while our Mazkin tanks the damage. The sword does seem to come with more DPS, it's just harder to use since it means being in melee distance. But if the enemy is focused elsewhere, why not? Hey, it's Sheldon. He and Fellis fled from Passwall when the knights attacked, and they both wound up in these ruins. Fellis abandoned Sheldon, and now every time Sheldon tries to get out of this place, he winds up back where he started. He'd like an escort out, but I think he'd make a better meat shield. Let's get moving, Shelly. Quick level up first, strength, agility, and endurance. Oh, 2 levels. Ooh, this could be bad. Ah, shit, 3 levels. Well, we got a few knights in the chamber ahead of us, but with Sheldon taking some of their attention and the hallway being long enough for easy kiting, this shouldn't be too tough. After they're all dead, we use a Heart of Order on this lightning spire and kill the knight it summons. Repeat this 2 more times, and the crystal snaps shut, cutting off Jyggalag's forces. Passwall should be safe, for now. Some knights backfilled the ruins while we were sealing the spire, but Sheldon isn't as much of a pushover as he looks. Don't worry, he's essential. He'll get back up. We've escaped the collapsing ruin. Sheldon kind of flaked out on us partway through the dungeon, but whatever. No hard feelings. No feelings at all, actually. I could watch the light go out of his eyes and feel nothing. Yutiko, great news. Oh, what the fuck?
Your Grace, you're alive. Truly, you are the greatest warrior ever to hold the seat of dementia.
Is there anything I could say to make this funnier? To shore up the realm's defenses and make it harder for Order to push through the Gates of Madness, Sheogorath tells us to seek out Realmina Varanim in Zazelm. We're gonna build us a new Gatekeeper to replace the one we killed. It won't deal with the forces already in the realm, but it'll keep any new ones from getting in through the fringe. Zazelm is Realmina's home away from home, and no home is complete without a couple pets and a few vestige-infused flesh atronachs wandering about. The flesh atronachs are unreasonably agile and tanky. The corpse dogs aren't too different. Thankfully, a lot of enemies through these ruins are weak skeletons, with the occasional skeleton champion here and there. Our Dark Seducer will be putting in a lot of work.
You! I remember you.
Realmina isn't too pleased to see us on account of us killing her Gatekeeper that one time, but she's still willing to serve her lord. The grief of losing her child, the Gatekeeper, prevents her from returning to his womb to collect the needed reagents, which means we gotta do it. From the Garden of Flesh and Bones, we must collect blood liqueur, osseous marrow, dermis membrane, and essence of breath. These were the ingredients chosen to create the perfect little Gatekeeper, but Mistress Realmina accidentally added an extra ingredient to the concoction, a key that makes people want to kill it. Thankfully, Realmina gives us access to her back door, into Zazelm, so we don't have to push through her nasty constructs when we return. The Garden of Flesh and Bones is back in the fringe where we collected those bones with J-Red. We use Realmina's key to enter the interior portions of the garden, and you can already see it's gonna be an ordeal. We got falling ceilings, grumpy dogs, jumpy corpse dudes, evil dead trees, steer clear of them, I implore you, and garden variety skeletons. But a little bit of patience is all it takes. When there are no enemies nearby, and we're able to wait, we wait an entire 24 hours so our Mazkin Greater Power is off cooldown. It's not exciting, but I can just edit out all the waiting, so it's like it's not even happening. Hey, 50 destruction. Here's the dermis membrane. Bunch of mushrooms, it seems. You know, I've heard about some companies using mycoprotein to 3D print, quote-unquote, meat alternatives. Apparently, the structure is kinda similar. Fungi are more closely related to animals than they are to plants, so I guess it's not a stretch to think they could be used to make atronach flesh. Although that's assuming Nirn had a similar evolutionary history to Earth, and we don't even know if they have DNA, so what am I talking about? The osseous marrow. If only J-Red were here, he'd be so proud. Ew, hunger. I was wondering when they'd start showing up. I'm surprised they're not as dangerous as they look. Where's the thing? God, this place is a damn maze. The caverns seem to be breathing. I'm gonna follow the green mist and see if that brings me somewhere useful. Well, would you look at that? That must be the blood liqueur. Look how breathy its essence is. How mystical. A regular-ass glass bottle floating in the mist. Actually, it's not a regular bottle. The neck is curved. How wacky. Whoa, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Slow your roll. Obscene amounts of blood. Awesome. The last ingredient. The blood liqueur. Let's get the hell out of here. We return to Realmina with the components, and now all that remains, besides the ritual, is picking out the body parts. The choice is left up to us. We can pick out what kind of arms the Gatekeeper will have, what kind of legs, what torso, what heart, what head. I should probably look up what each one does, but who cares? Knights sometimes use frost, so the frost shielding arm seems smart. Bashing, since knights seem to be sentient armor. Not that attack style really matters in Oblivion. Breast of life. They'll have more health, I suppose. Heart of wound sharing sounds good. Helm of power, duh. And a pair of nimble legs. Cool, ritual time. The ritual is pretty simple. She rambles about the significance of the ingredients, then we chuck them into the cistern. Once all the ingredients are added, she summons a standard Flesh Atronach from Oblivion, a Daedra in Flesh Atronach form, and orders it into the soup.
Stand clear of the cistern. Over here by me.
Are we in the splash zone? What's happening?
Honored Daedra, fear not thy abasement. Thou shalt be the holy in this temple. I bind
right.
thee,
Whoa.
Atronach, to this body.
I'm okay.
Henceforth, Gatekeeper of the Shivering Isles.
Cool. He'll do well here. Sheogorath is pleased with the good news, but nothing good ever lasts forever. And Auriel rushes in and informs the Mad God that the forces of Order have attacked Brolak. Ah, an act of subterfuge. Something Order isn't particularly skilled at. But all this preparation, why hasn't Jyggalag attacked himself?
Well, aren't you precious? Do you really not know? Haven't you noodled it all through yet? Because he is me! Well, I'm him! We're a bit of each other, really. I won't be here when he arrives because I'll be him. Happens every time. The Grey March starts, Order appears, and I become Jyggalag and wipe out my whole realm.
Ah, but why does Sheogorath become Jyggalag? Answers only create more questions. Brolak is the nexus for Auriels. Ismi wouldn't have requested the help from the Duchess of Dementia if it weren't an emergency. She tells us that Théoden led in the forces of Order. They had no idea he had turned traitor.
They captured our commander, Stada.
Oh, Stada! She's in Morrowind. You gotta kill her during Azura's Daedra quest. The forces of Order, rather than killing Stada, since she would just be able to regenerate via the Wellspring, trapped her within Brolak, removing her from the fight indefinitely. Our first priority is finding Stada and freeing her. Fortunately, we have a squad of Golden Saints to help us fight through all the knights and priests. By following this stream of dehydrated piss, we find the room where they've been holding Stada, but there's no obvious way to free her from this crystalline encasement. Stada tells us to ring the chime hanging outside her cell. That may break open her prison. It worked! With Stada now able to help us, all that's left is flushing out the remaining Order from the Wellspring. If the Auriels lose access to the Wellspring, this realm, the Shivering Isles, will be lost to them forever. It's what draws their spirits from the waters of Oblivion to the Isles. You'd think Sheogorath could make a new Wellspring, but maybe it's more involved than I assume. Maybe if he created a new Wellspring, they'd be an entire different group of saints, I don't know. Not much further into Brolak, we're met with another barrier, much like the one that imprisoned Stada. The chime over here should—
No, the Wellspring. They've stopped it up. You must make it to the Wellspring and let the waters flow.
I know it's supposed to be serious, but come on, we're on our own from here. But there's actually a friend I've yet to introduce you guys to. For helping rebuild the Gatekeeper, we were granted a second greater power, one that summons a Flesh Atronach for 60 seconds. He's quite effective. Why even bother with the Mazkin anymore? When we arrive at the Wellspring, we see it's been covered up by crystals that look suspiciously like the symbol of Julianos. Could that be lore? Doubt it. There are 4 chimes around the room we have to ring, all while fighting off a bunch of Knights of Order, but that's not a problem. Our Atronach is too strong to— Oh. Chimes are rung, crystal breaks, flower is freed, Stada returns. As thanks, she gives us the power to summon a Golden Saint to aid us in battle. That's 3 greater powers now. She also gives us armor, but it's too heavy, so— This all seems to be going well. Jyggalag's throwing a lot at us, but we're foiling him at every turn. I think we might actually stop the Grey March. I'm pretty hopeful. Let's go meet back up with Sheogorath.
All shall crumble before Jyggalag!
Haskell?
He is gone, but hope is not lost. We have a rare opportunity here, but I hesitate to do what must be done.
Jyggalag will succeed if the Throne of Madness is empty when he arrives. But if we manage to put ourselves on the throne, that might just be enough to stop the Grey March entirely. Remember the mantling stuff we discussed earlier? Symbols are important. If we hold a symbol of Sheogorath's office, his staff, it may allow us to hold the throne. Couldn't hurt to try, but his staff disappeared with him. What do? Haskell sends us to Knife Point Hollow, a place that was once a great library built by Jyggalag. All things that have happened, all things that are happening, and all things that will happen were recorded and stored within those walls. It was not prophecy that told Jyggalag these things, but it was his many Daedric formulae. Everything had been calculated. Everything had been determined. It was inevitable. Sheogorath wasn't fond of this determinism, so he had the library destroyed, preserving just one thing. A man. Daius, Jyggalag's librarian, the keeper of knowledge. If anyone knows how to reform Sheogorath's staff, it's him. Daius, master of calculations, knew we were coming, and he knows why we're here. Why he's willing to help us foil Jyggalag is anyone's guess, but he helps us nonetheless. To reforge the staff of Sheogorath, he requires two things. The first is the eye of someone who has witnessed unseen secrets. We can get this from Sirta in the Howling Halls. The second is a branch from the Tree of Shades, one of the oldest trees in the realm. We can find it in Milkar. Milkar's quicker, so we'll start with that. Enter the cavern, fight through some gnarls, activate the Standing Stone, and prove to the tree that we're worthy. It conjures a shadowy version of ourselves. It might not be Din's fire, but Snowflare works well enough. Sirta's eye will take a bit more work. She's stubborn and doesn't want to give it to us, so now, instead of half blinding herself, she's gotta die. So irrational, some people. Realm of Madness, what can you do? The Howling Halls are full of apostles, your typical cultists with daggers. They're pushovers, but they can summon hungers, so our flesh Atronach is still a valuable asset. Eventually, we find a kitty cat all alone in these chambers. He says he's not like the others. He wants to see Sirta dead. His allies are further ahead, but like himself, they're unarmed. Sirta sensed their potential betrayal and forbade Rakharon and his supporters from carrying so much as a pocket knife. What he wants us to do is collect 3 cultist daggers. With them, he and his compatriots will help us kill Sirta. We had killed a few cultists already, so we gather up their daggers, throw on a pair of their robes so we could blend in, and continue further into the ruins with Rakharon. His 2 supporters take their daggers, and the 4 of us charge into Sirta's chambers. A chaotic brawl ensues.
I will cast you into the darkness.
While they focus on Sirta, we deal with her lapdog, Luminary Kaz. They're still fighting Sirta. It's 3-on-1, guys, come on. Now that she's dead, we pluck out her eye. Good thing I brought my trusty grapefruit spoon. I'm kinda now realizing the entire process of becoming the Lord of Madness is just a series of fetch quests. Just a series of small favors. Daius shapes the branch in the eye into a branch with an eye, and says all that's left to do is to soak the staff in the waters of the Font of Madness, and Sheogorath's powers will be ours. The font is right in the throne room, so once we dip our stick, we can sit on the throne and put an end to the Grey March once and for all.
Ah, you're back. You may have noticed that we have a bit of a problem.
Me damn it. Because Jyggalag has a former duke among his ranks, he's gotten a bit more creative, and had his forces attack the font directly, preventing us from accessing the waters. Time to push our way through another root-infested cavern. At least this one has some friendly gnarls. We've got some Priests of Order and crystal outcroppings scattered throughout this dungeon, and as the gnarls crawl down into the crystal-infected waters, they become corrupted with order, turning aggressive. So not only do we have a bunch of magic-chucking priests to contend with, but the longer it takes to kill them, the more reinforcements they accumulate. Jesus Christ, it's like an actual lightning bolt. Finally, the last priest in the Pool of Dementia is dead. The lightning priest was using a staff, and unlike those grummites from the beginning of the video, remember the Nexus crystals? We can actually keep this staff. 15 points of shock damage on target, with 25 uses left. Good to have as backup. The Pool of Mania is much the same. Fight through the tunnels, kill some corrupted gnarls, and die to the Rectory of Priests until fortune shines upon you. But unlike the Pool of Dementia, there's a familiar face overseeing the Pool of Mania. The former Duke of Mania, Théoden. He's changed up his outfit a bit, but he's still wearing that silly hat. The moment he betrayed Sheogorath, his fate was sealed. Killed by one of his own Auriel. Couldn't think of a more poetic end. I'm taking his dumb hat. Waters have begun flowing from the Font of Madness once more. We dunk the staff, and have gained the power of Sheogorath. I'm overwhelmed. Do we sit on the throne?
My lord,
Oh, jeez.
Otkendo Jansa sent me to find you. She...
The god's work is never done. Obelisks have begun sprouting up in the courtyard. Jyggalag Approaches. The forces of Order won't stop their assault as long as their crystals are empowered. To cut them off, we must sacrifice 3 Hearts of Order to both pillars. Now, personally, if I were Jyggalag, I wouldn't power my soldiers with my portal's off buttons. But he is part Sheogorath after all. He's just so quirky. That's the first pillar. And that's the second. Now we wait.
You hold the staff, but you are no Daedric prince. This ends as it always does. Order shall reign. Another of Sheogorath's foolish schemes.
That was the last cast I had on this staff.
Enough! I am beaten. The Grey March is ended.
Jyggalag says he was cursed by all the other Daedric princes, forcing him to switch back and forth between Sheogorath and Jyggalag, Order into madness and back again. You see, the other Daedric princes feared his power. But I wonder, what if this is just how he's always been, and he just doesn't realize it? Maybe the Daedra didn't curse him at all? What is a hyperfixation with Order other than another form of madness in and of itself? Well, it's probably not fair to call OCD a form of madness, but when it's divine OCD, sure.
You've done it! Well done, Lord Sheogorath. I never doubted you for a moment.
The Grey March has ended. We're Sheogorath now, the Mad God, ruler of the Shivering Isles. Alright, video finished. Bring in the dancing papas.